Welcome to Season 3 of the Charity Matters podcast. I'm Heidi Johnson, lifelong helper, nonprofit founder, and your host. I've been interviewing the helpers for a decade with my blog, and I'm so grateful to now be sharing these inspiring conversations on our podcast. Join me as we learn the challenges and stories of innovators, entrepreneurs, and modern-day heroes who set out to solve the problems of humanity. Do you remember that epic moment when Mia Hamm and the Americans won the World Cup? That image of Mia Hamm kneeling on the soccer field impacted so many women, and today's guest is one of them. Join us for an inspirational conversation with Bre Russell, the founder of Girls Leading Girls, an organization that teaches leadership through soccer and so much more. It's an incredible journey of entrepreneurial spirit and service that you're not going to want to miss. We are so excited today to have Bre Russell, the founder of Girls Leading Girls, join us to share about her amazing organization and what she's doing to inspire thousands of girls around Southern California and really making a difference in our world. So welcome, Bre. We're so grateful that you're here.
Thank you for having me, Heidi. I'm super excited.
We're so excited. And I started mentioning because we have in common that we both kind of raise leaders, which I think is a really needed goal more now than ever before. I think people have kind of taken leadership for granted, and our world is a little chaotic right now, and we're looking for leadership. So anyone who's working on raising leaders is my people. So I'm so excited to talk to you about everything that you're doing. So share with our audience, for people who don't know what Girls Leading Girls is, what it is that you do.
Yes, would love to. So I'm Bre Russell, or Bre. People call me Coach Bre, and I'm the founder and CEO of Girls Leading Girls. We are based in San Francisco, and we are a nonprofit that trains girls and women in leadership, advocacy, and life skills through soccer. We are the first ever all-girls soccer organization with all women coaches. And every year we serve over 700 girls ages 5 to 17 in the Bay Area, so Northern California.
Okay, I was off. Right state, wrong locale.
And yeah, it's been, I started it in 2014, and it's been a crazy journey to get where we are today, but we are thriving. Even coming off of COVID, we're people want what we're doing more than ever now.
Absolutely. People are craving it. So before we get into the journey, the journey kind of usually starts early. There's things that happen. I mean, you don't realize, you look back and you see the path and you don't realize, but were you always philanthropic? Was there something that happened in your childhood did you have great role models? Because you don't just wake up and say, I'm going to start a nonprofit. You don't say, when I'm a little girl, when I grow up, I want to be maybe a professional soccer player, but you don't think I'm going to be a nonprofit founder. So tell me about kind of your early philanthropy and kind of, was there something that you did in your childhood or some mentors that you had that maybe planted that seed of compassion?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question for sure, because it's not one I'm ever asked.
Good.
I think it definitely, well, there's a couple of things here. Like, one, I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So that was something that was ingrained. And that was because I did have role models like my aunt, my uncle, my grandpa, my cousin. They were all entrepreneurs. And I just love creating and building ideas, and entrepreneurs are all about solving problems. So we see a problem, we want to solve it, and we solve it through, business, service, product, whatever it is.
Right.
And so that was always something that appealed to me, and I worked on at a young age, just ideas on how to make money as well, because we were just trying to survive, my family.
Right.
We didn't grow up with a lot of money. We didn't grow up with a lot of resources. I relied on a lot of people to help. And so I think also that's the other side of it, was needing help and having people in the community, friends, family, support, my coaches making soccer even possible for me. was huge. And so seeing other people help me made me want to also pay it forward and help others.
Right.
My
I
actual
love that.
yeah, my actual first experience volunteering was at a hospital when I was a freshman in high school because no one would hire me. I was actively trying to find a job because we needed money and no one would hire me. So a friend of mine we decided to volunteer at a hospital. And that experience made me quickly learn I did not ever want to work in a hospital. But it was a good experience for sure.
Well, and I think that all those pieces, come together. And you said something that I think is so important. I always talk about nonprofit founders as entrepreneurs, and people
Yeah,
don't think of us as entrepreneurs, and we are starting businesses. And
yeah.
everything that goes into start a business, we have to do.
Okay.
We have to market, we have to brand, we
Right.
have to grow community, we have to do
Yeah.
everything it takes to grow business, except we have to raise our money. We don't make a
Yeah.
product to sell. And it's even harder.
Yep.
It's the hardest form of entrepreneurship known to man. And getting the world to realize that nonprofit founders are a special breed of human that are helpers and entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And it's a magical combination because you take that visionary problem solving spirit and you mix it with a helper, and
Yeah.
the outcome is something magical. So, tell me, was there a moment, because as you go through this journey, you're volunteering in high school, you go to college, you're an athlete, you're a soccer player, where do the pieces come together for Girls Forming Girls? I mean, it there's usually a moment, there's things that happen, and I know the story, but I know people listening don't. So share with us kind of how the pieces connected for you to do this, to create this
Yeah.
organization.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a cool story. I mean, well, first, I've been playing soccer since I was 5 years old. I played many sports, but soccer was the game that I just fell in love with it. It was catered for me, like it was perfect for me. And soccer was a place where I was also recognized. I could be myself. I could escape the struggles that I was facing at home and school. And you know, I didn't have to apologize for being aggressive or for
Right.
going after it. I could just be myself, and if I made a
Love
mistake,
that.
I can make up for it really quickly. There's no
Right.
stalls in the game. So, and also, fun fact, soccer is one of the few sports that is not altered for women. It's the same for
Oh,
men and women.
interesting.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
yeah.
I
It's
did
one of
not
the
grow up playing
few.
soccer, and my
Yeah.
kids didn't play soccer because I wouldn't let them
Yeah.
because of what soccer parents are demanded. I was like, I got too much going on. You're going to
Yeah.
play football. That takes a lot less of my time. AYSO
Really?
is going to is
Yeah.
going to suck me dry. But
Yeah.
but
Yeah, the
so
culture
you're
is interesting. So that I'll come back to that. But so basically, um, I played in college at Sacramento State, and then and studied business. And then after college, I was coaching on the side, and decided to go in the Peace Corps. And I went
so
to
awesome.
Vanuatu, which is volcano ring of fire. Beautiful
Wow.
country, but small and very lots of gender norms. And women didn't have a lot of opportunity.
Right.
Particularly, I went there thinking I was going to get to play soccer, the universal sport. And not so, because there only the men played soccer. And I said, well, I brought my ball and cleats, so if I beat you, will you let me play? And of
Wow.
course,
Love that.
yeah. And so I did. And
Good
so,
for you.
so yeah, thank you. Some girls in the community, I was living in a village on a really small rural island, saw me playing and then asked if they could play with me. And so we formed a team. I found out FIFA was hosting a tournament nearby on another island. I organized to get us fundraising uniforms. We went to the island and played on this hot volcanic ash
Oh my
for
gosh.
3 days in this tournament, and we ended up winning first place. And
Yay.
yeah, it was one of the highest moments I ever felt, from challenge after challenge of getting there to finally getting there and then winning. We got this huge Wimbledon-sized trophy. We got $100, which is a lot of money there.
Right.
And when we came back to the community, because a lot of people in the community didn't want us to go, they were skeptical. Like, why are you going to play soccer? You're going for
Right.
another reason. and they just couldn't get it. And so when we came back, they were waiting for us with flowers on the beach to congratulate us because they heard we won, and they were
Oh.
so proud of us. And the girls, the team, wanted to run around the community with the trophy, and I was just like, "Are we? Can we do that?" And they said, "Yeah, we're doing that." And so a light bulb went off of, soccer is not just a sport; it's a vehicle for women's empowerment, economic opportunity, equality, community change. These women were now seen as winners. And that
I
was all that I needed to, when I came back from that experience to start Girls Leading Girls here in the Bay Area.
I love that. I love that. Well, and you think about, I mean, and I think in the United States, we all think about Mia Hamm. I live right near the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, and there's a big statue of her out
Yeah.
in front with a women's leadership plaque below it, and her in that moment, kneeling down, that famous moment. There's a statue of her in front of the Rose Bowl in Pasadena.
Yep.
And I walk by it all the time. And I think about what she symbolized, for our country and for so many women. And I still think that there probably aren't as many opportunities as we think that there are
Right.
for. I mean, I think there's a false narrative almost that, and I'm not saying that Nike's painted this, but we see an image from publicity or from a campaign and we think, oh, girls are just leading and doing all these things because Nike has a picture of Mia Hamm.
Right.
I don't think that's not probably
Yeah.
really the situation. So
Yeah.
talk to me about the challenges in starting this and the challenges that you've kind of faced along this way. I mean, you're starting a business, which is
Yeah.
hard enough.
Right.
It's 2014. You're young and
Right.
you're like, okay, I'm gonna start this. There's no money, there's no resources. I mean, we all start that way. We start with a dream and an idea and we have nothing. And you have to build something out of nothing. So what was that like? What were those challenges?
Well, it's definitely a grind, which, I think all entrepreneurship starts as. You are grinding, you are hustling.
Yeah.
I was working full time at another nonprofit. So I started after Peace Corps, I was in the nonprofit space. So I was working full time for another nonprofit and building this on the side. And I was coaching in the community, and that's really what helped me get it going was people in the community here in San Francisco saw me coaching and said, "Can you coach our daughter? Can you coach my daughter? Because there's not enough women coaches." This is in 2014 in San Francisco.
Isn't that
So
crazy?
there is definitely a lack of representation of women in sports at all levels. And you're only like, okay, it's
Right.
2021, so 8 years later, we're starting to see that change. Like we were
Right.
watching the Warriors basketball game last night and it had four female refs. Great. But when is this no longer going to be a special circumstance? And when are we
Right.
going to have women as not just referees and athletes, but owners of these higher level clubs and teams? And so, a challenge was not enough women coaches. So we are essentially trying to change something that is also making it hard for us to do what we do because
Interesting.
we only
You're
have.
changing the whole, you're trying to create an ecosystem,
Yes,
a system that is going to continue while building an organization within a system that doesn't exist.
exactly. So
Right. Yeah.
we are
No
um,
easy feat, by the way.
right.
Yeah.
We are recruiting, training, and mentoring women to become coaches, which most never think that they can. So there's
Right.
psychological barriers there. And also, we're going up against male run, the old traditional model of coaching, which is what I was trying to create something different because the old traditional model really was a disservice to girls. Girls dropping out of sports at young
Right.
ages. The statistics are there. I mean, girls drop out of
Right.
sports by age 12 at, over 50% rate than boys.
Really? I
Yeah,
never knew that.
I don't know
That's
what the
fascinating.
current update is, but that was what it was, when I
Wow.
started this. And um, so something's failing them, right? And then, there are more girls playing sports, but like I said, there's not enough women represented throughout the sports industry.
Right.
And then not girls who can't afford it. Everything is very much like a pay to play model, which leaves a lot of people out, including myself when I was a kid. luckily I had coaches that saw my talent and
Right.
gave me scholarships to play. Otherwise, I would have never had this opportunity.
Well, and I kind of hear you because running a youth leadership organization,
Mhm.
which I do for my day job, we train the trainers. So we
Yeah.
train our college students who train our high school students, who train our middle school students, and it's kind of a waterfall. And so you're doing the same thing with your coaches.
Yes.
You're training the trainers,
Mhm.
and then you have the trickle down model. But
Mhm.
there is a lot that goes into building the waterfall so that it keeps regenerating, right?
Yes.
And that's the model that I live with every day. And I think one of the challenges with nonprofit work is there's just never enough time, right? I mean, there's more need
Yeah.
than we can meet. And I think the hardest thing for most of us is knowing we can't help everybody.
Right.
We can't do it all. So I mean that's we all have that moment where we have to realize we can't do it all. So I always say my expression is kind of the bucket is heavy because as founders or CEOs of our organizations, the buck stops with us and we still have lives, we still have laundry, we still have to get groceries, we still have all the stuff
Burnout.
everybody else has,
Yeah.
bills and everything. We have everything everybody else has. But rather than like not manufacturing enough of something every day, we have the backs of people that are relying on us. And
Mhm.
when we go to bed at night, we think about, and for you, you think about those girls that you
Yeah.
are trying to help and serve. And so when those days are hard and the bucket is heavy, what fuels you to kind of keep going? Like what makes you just keep going? Because it's hard. Some days it's really hard.
Oh yeah. I mean, I burned out within the first couple of years, and then that's when I knew, all right, it's time to hire people. I have to
Yeah.
take a risk. I need more help. I need like staff, not just coaches. So,
Yeah.
yeah, for me, there's a couple things that fuel me. One is the girls in the program. Some of them I've known for 8 years, and to see
Oh,
them start with me and then get, passed on to other coaches within our organization, and to see them develop from a young age into confident, strong young women on and off the field is just amazing. I mean, this is the beauty of kids. They grow so fast. It's like you can see that
right.
growth right before your eyes. And for example, there's one girl, I'll say her name is Melinda, not her actual name. And,
Okay.
she came to us from she was not having great experiences at other organizations that were soccer focused. She's a very talented athlete, and she took a year off from playing because she was not thriving on these other teams. Her friend who was playing with us encouraged her to join our organization, which she did. And I felt an instant connection with her because we had similar backgrounds. Like her family was just trying to survive. She was often having to take care of and be responsible for her younger siblings at a young
Mm,
age. And she didn't have a lot of resources or support. I mean, I would pick her up, take her to practice, that kind of thing. So,
right.
um, for her over the last years, she improved so much in her soccer skills and her leadership. She was awarded goalie of the year 2 years in a row from her high school league. While
Wow.
playing with us, she was also on our junior coaches track. So we have a junior coach program where high school students can volunteer and be trained as a coach, and then when they graduate they can become a paid coach if they are still in the area. And so she's
Right.
now a paid coach with us, and she's playing soccer at SF City College, where I had the college coaches come out and watch her play in high school. And I just made it my job to support her and see her through this and be her mentor. And I want to, obviously, I can't do that for all, we serve 700 girls. I can't do that for all of them,
Right.
but I can model it and be an example so other coaches want to do it too.
I love that. Well, I took over this youth leadership organization in 2013. So we've been about the same time. And I understand why teachers teach because to your point of watching
Mhm.
someone that you've mentored and to see that, and I don't want to say crop, but it is a crop almost of growing children become leaders. It's just like there's nothing more rewarding
Yeah.
than seeing. And while we're a small cog in the wheel that makes them who they are, in some way, we know we have a hand in their development and we have a hand in guiding them. And there's something that really that makes us keep coming back for more, right?
Yeah.
It's why we pick up that bucket when we're like, oh man.
Yeah.
But it makes it all worthwhile. So I say this all the time. I have a horrible love-hate relationship with the word impact. You write grants,
Mm-hmm.
you try to get funding, your donors want to know your impact. They want to get the best return on their investment. They want to bet on a winning horse. And of course, everyone wants their money to go to something worthwhile, but there's, a lot of causes out there. And so we're constantly trying to, like, as nonprofits, show our impact, show why we're so fantastic and what we do that's so
Yeah.
impactful. But sometimes measuring impact, is not, you can't measure that 8-year-old, that girl that you've watched for 8 years become a coach. You can't measure that. You can't
Right.
measure that her life has direction and has changed. You can't measure confidence. Those aren't measurements. So when I ask you, what is the impact of girls leading girls?
Mhm.
Is it what is it for you? Is it a story? Is it a number? Is it both? Is it metrics? I mean, there's no wrong answer,
Yeah.
but it's just kind of how you phrase it, because it's all impactful.
Yeah, I would say it's a combination definitely of, you know, we've had this conversation with my staff team. Are we wide and shallow or narrow and deep? And the reality is we're a combination of both at any given time. And what that means is last year we served 736 girls. That's
Wow.
736 households, and we brought in 714,000 in revenue. That was our biggest year yet. And
Wow.
that was amazing coming off of COVID. Like I said, the demand is higher because
Right.
of mental health issues, stagnation
Right.
from being home and not being out and being active, social,
Oh,
anxiety.
huge.
It's
Right.
all come out in the surveys we put out to the girls and their parents to hear things like, "Oh, my daughter like lost her joy for life during COVID when she came to your summer camp. It was like she was a new person again. I've never seen her smile like that in
Oh,
months." And so hearing those stories are really the impact. That's the depth. The wide and shallow is the reach, and then the depth is what we're doing. It's not just soccer. We're teaching these girls confidence, self-esteem, positive peer relationships. We're building them up because there is like this huge confidence gap for girls where
huge.
their confidence dips at around age 12, and boys just keeps rising. But girls, it doesn't start rising until later, almost like young adult. And then there's still always that gap because it's never closed. Like they never
Right.
reach where the boy
Right.
kept going. And so, for me, it's seeing this organization grow and how many girls we serve, but then also seeing the impact, like the effect. And so, like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And the need, I mean, to your point about COVID, I mean, I heard the statistic, I think it was 2 weeks ago, that the suicide rate for teenage
Right.
girls is up 50%. 50.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's like it takes your breath away.
Yeah.
And these kids, I know that when our program met in person last summer, and I just want to say a caveat, nobody got COVID. When our program met in person last summer, our summer program, I'd never seen a group of kids more hungry for connection, each other, peers, mentorship, confident, all the things that exactly what you're providing the girls. And to your point of the girls at 12 having a confidence gap and this combination with this suicide,
No
it's
one.
like a perfect storm of horribleness. And you guys are coming in and you're like you know you're like the penicillin to save the day. I mean, it's pretty fantastic what happens when you put a group of women together
Yeah.
with a singular goal, right? I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
there's not a lot stopping them.
Yeah,
So I'm not
exactly.
stopping.
Exactly.
So speaking of not stopping and dreaming big, because I've never met a nonprofit founder that's like, oh yeah, okay, we're just going to take care of 700. We're done.
Yeah.
Never. We're our own worst enemy. And most nonprofit founders start out saying that they just want to help one. And
Right.
before they know it, 736,
Yeah.
and counting,
Yeah.
because we're our own worst enemy, and it's good and bad, but we want to help more, serve more, do more,
Yeah.
multiply, do all those things, because we're entrepreneurs. It's in our nature. Also, it's a combination. So if you could dream any dream, go big or go home, what would it be for girls reaching girls?
Yeah, I think for girls leading girls, we would,
Girls leading girls,
yeah,
sorry.
that's okay. I know. Definitely the dream is to expand and open branches of our program all over the world, starting in the US and then having that impact worldwide. And that would mean serving hundreds of thousands of girls and women, empowering them to be confident and to be leaders on and off the field, to provide jobs and training, and to, give them the tools they need to succeed, whether or not it's to continue in the sport. But, we're teaching them how to take risks, how to speak confidently, and how to go after what they want so that, hey, when they are older, they can have that conversation about a pay raise with their boss, or they
Right.
can ask for that promotion and put themselves up for it, even if their resume is not perfect. And so it's important to me that, in this expansion, the goal is to just help the girls and women we serve live the best life, be self-sufficient, and go after what they want with confidence.
I love that. I mean,
Yeah.
that is that is secret sauce right there. And that's, it's not giving a fish, it's giving a pole, it's giving the tools for life to be successful, that impact every nook and cranny of their life. I mean, and that's what I think that people think, oh, oh, it's just soccer,
Right,
or it's just, oh, you're just teaching public speaking in our situation, or
right,
communication, or goal setting, or whatever. Oh, it's just leadership.
mm,
No, it's not. It's not just.
right.
It is what sets you apart from everybody else.
Yeah.
And I'm sure your girls in a classroom stand out, because also girls that do sports have better grades. I
Yes.
mean,
There's a lot of
like,
statistics. Yeah. Most likely to be CEOs is
right. I
athletes.
mean, right. It's the list goes on and on and on, of the gifts and the benefits,
Yeah.
of all of that. So, do you have like a motto or a phrase that you live by, or something that you just kind of like your go-to? People like Coach Bree, or whatever when you're in the huddle. I'm channeling Ted Lasso right now. I got to just
Oh
say,
my
like, I'm
God, I
having
love
it.
that show.
How much do we love Ted Lasso? Everybody loves
Yeah.
Ted Lasso. But do you have
I
like a
love that.
motto?
I have many mottos. I'm less on the field now. I'm doing more of the organizational side,
Right.
partially because I'm a new mom with a 4-month-old boy.
Oh,
So look out for boys
congratulations.
leading boys in the future. I mean,
As
he's
a
gonna be
boy
a mom.
mom, I've raised three of them.
Okay.
You're going to have a lot of fun. You're
Yeah,
going to
he's
have a lot
a
of fun.
sweetie pie. We love him so much.
Oh,
So, but I will say, when I was coaching, one of the key things I would say all the time in the huddle is, and I sort of ask it in a rhetorical question, what's the most important play on the field? And they would, kind of give me their answers, and I say, the next play. So whatever just happened, let
right,
that go.
right,
You are now focused on the next play. And I think you can
right,
apply that to life too, because, things happen to us, or it's also kind of the saying of everything is temporary. And
right,
you can take that in many ways at different times, and it can help you overcome challenges. It can help you really savor the positive, the wonderful moments, because it's not going
right,
to last. But then it
right,
also gives you action of, okay, what am I in control of? And what is important to do next? So it's teaching many different things. So that was my favorite thing to say in the huddle is, what's the most important play, the
oh,
next play.
oh,
Um, and then sort of internally with my staff, it's done is better than perfect. And this is particularly important for women because perfectionism is a problem with the
Yeah.
women's
Yes.
psychological.
Yes.
We want to be so perfect that no one can criticize us. That's what
Yeah.
it stems from.
Right.
And it's really a fear-based thing. And I tell them
So
all the time,
true.
done is better than perfect. Perfectionism doesn't exist. Just we're here to progress. We're here to learn.
Right.
I'd rather see something than nothing. And I'd rather you take a risk than not at all because you're waiting for it to be perfect.
I think that is such an important message. And I do think that perfectionism, I was speaking to a group of girls at USC about a month ago, and they were asking me about like, well, how do you do it all? How do you make it all work? You've raised kids, you have this career, and how do you do it all? Tell us the balance. I'm like, oh, no. There's no balance.
Right.
Balance is a crock. It's something you've been
Yes,
told,
I
you've been
agree.
marketed about balance. It's about making a choice. Every day you make a choice. Am I going to study or am I going to go party? Am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? There's no balance.
Yeah.
There's no balance. And it's the same thing with, the perfectionism. Some
Yeah.
marketing company put these images in our brain as
Right.
women that we're supposed to be this,
Right.
and the images aren't real.
No.
They're not real. I mean, they're just not real. And we all get caught up in that. It's just they're coming at us everywhere. So I love what you are doing. I think that it's really
Yeah.
remarkable. And I don't want to say it's simple because I know how much goes into it, but when you think about it, it just makes such common sense, right? It just,
Right. Like, why
right?
did this exist already? Like, why
Right.
I would have, and that's one of the reasons why I did it too, was to help 12-year-old Bree. Like, I needed this. It wasn't there.
It
Luckily,
wasn't
I
there.
had people to help me, but there were times when I didn't, and I could have gone
Right.
down a very different path. And
Right.
so it's important that I reach those girls, like that suicide rate you were talking about, so that they don't go down that way and they have
Right.
another option. And to your point about balance, I agree. I don't believe in balance. I believe in
Mhm.
integration. My work life is integrated. My people that are in my family are involved with Girls Dating Girls.
Right.
I'm involved with the lives of the people in the organization. Like it's not separate. Everything is integrated.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, I looked at these girls in college asking me this question, which is a great question,
Yeah.
but it's a great question, but I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. Just, you need to know you're never going to have this. Oh, I brought home the bacon and I fried it up in the pan and I put on lipstick and
Right.
I hosted a meeting and I made dinner and I had dinner party and no. And I got my kids to soccer practice and
Yeah.
no, like, no, it's never going to be like that. It's going to
Yeah.
be like, I'm not having the dinner party. I'm not putting on the makeup. I'm
Yeah.
taking the kids to soccer practice and I'm going to stay there and watch practice while I maybe take a call. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm going to
I'm
do.
gonna be on a call. Exactly.
But I'm
Yeah.
going to be here. So when my daughter looks over, I'm waving,
Yeah.
hi, I'm here. Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a choice. That's not a balance.
Yeah. Or I'm on the sideline doing sprints and squats so I can get my workout in.
Exactly. Or running the lap on the phone or the
Yeah.
track while you're working out.
There you go.
But it's like you have to just make these choices. And anyway, it's just but it is wonderful when you get to help guide these, because I don't remember having women necessarily, and I'm significantly older than you are. I mean, I had a great mother, as a working mother, as a role model, but growing up, there weren't a lot of working women as role models, because kind of the women's thing was starting in the 70s when I was
Right.
young. And so it's important that we all pay it forward, to your
Yes.
point, and pass it down. So there's so many life lessons, and you've already shared it, even a few with your motto, which I love, that you learned from this. I mean, when you start a journey of service, and I mean, all the way, I think about it feels like almost it could be a movie of you. I can just see you running in that island with the trophy and all these girls and flowers. And I mean, from that moment that you're like, I can do this, I need to replicate this. There's a lot of lessons that come with that. So what do you think are some of the life lessons that you've learned from this?
Hmm.
These, I mean,
Yeah,
there's
that's a deep question. I mean, there's a few that come to mind. I would say, some of these are lessons that people tell you, or they're like quotes, and you're like, yeah, yeah. And then until you actually
Right.
feel it, go through it yourself, you're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Well, one, I would say, definitely do what you enjoy. Like, work does not need to feel like work. And
Right.
people, my parents' generation, that was not the case. Work was work. And they were
Yeah.
trying to just make
100%.
money doing whatever they could. But we are lucky now. My
Yeah.
generation, even the millennials after me, there's so many different things you can do. So
So
do what
many.
you enjoy. Forget about, oh, I need to make money. Oh, here's a good saying that I say all the time that people really like, and my sister has really taken to heart is people will always want, if you're good at what you do, people will always want what you do. So
Yes.
if you're good at it, there will always be a demand because people aren't just buying your product or service, they're also buying you. And when
Right.
you have passion and enthusiasm, that comes through. And so if
100%.
you're doing something you don't enjoy, it's gonna make it harder for you to be successful.
100%.
I'd say
I,
number one is, yeah, go after whatever you enjoy doing. Figure that out. It doesn't have to be one thing. There's not like one passion. There's many, many things that you can enjoy doing and finding, where you want to end up making money doing that thing.
right.
And
Right.
and the other thing was, and this is probably a business lesson, is like find the right people. Find the right people to help you because you're going to
Right.
find the wrong people and you're going to learn from those
Gonna
people.
kiss some toads. You're gonna try
Yeah.
on a couple pairs of shoes that don't fit. Right.
Yeah, you're gonna learn from that,
Right.
but in the end, you want to find the right people to help you because they're out there, and when you find them, it's magic.
And I think that finding the right people is such an important message on so many levels. You think about our, young girls or young that, you know, they're trying to find their people too.
Yeah,
When you find a group of people that love you for who you are, that
yes,
support you, that love all your quirkiness and all the things, the good, the bad, the ugly that you bring. It changes your life. It validates you.
yes,
It gives you confidence. You can row in the same direction, because you're of the same ilk. And I think that's so important. I mean, I am lucky that I get to find people like you. I go in search of my nonprofit founders because I'm like, I need to find my people. Like, who are these people who do this work? Because we're insane. We're crazy. Like, who does this? Who does this? But I've been interviewing nonprofit founders for 10 years now, and I have met the most remarkable group of humans that I do believe are angels on this planet, that give their lives to make other lives better, that work harder than anyone I know, and who just care so deeply about humanity. I mean, they just care so deeply about other people, and they're the ultimate role models. So I feel like in my search to find my people with Charity Matters, I get to meet people like you and then share them with everybody. And like, there's just nothing better than finding something great and then sharing it. So I have such joy just from conversations like this because I learned so much from everybody that I talk to, and I hope everyone listening is excited and learning all these great, wonderful things as well. So, how do you think you've changed, Bre? I mean, do you think you're the same, girl that went to this island in the South Pacific, or do you think you've changed in this process?
I've definitely changed. Yeah, when I went into the Peace Corps, I was 25 and wide-eyed and hopeful and
That's what 25-year-olds are.
not much cares in the world, just ready to pick up and go and yeah, just take in the experiences, which I did. And I think I've changed in a variety of ways. Growing this organization, I've definitely learned to be more patient um, in the process, in working with people, in growth with myself. Just being more patient is
Right.
probably the biggest lesson I've learned that has changed me, which is only going to help me to be a better mother to.
Oh, you're going to need it, honey. You're going to
Oh
need
my God. Already, like the first 4 months, I'm like, wow. Uh, yeah.
You're
So
going to need
that
it.
was.
There's a great quote from Amon, David Bowie's second wife, the supermodel. And she had her first daughter at 22, I think, and her second child, David Bowie, like at 40 or 42. And she said, when I was young, I had all of the energy and none of the patience.
Mhm.
And with my second child, I had all of the patience and none of the energy.
Exactly how I feel
And
now.
and as a mother, you need both, and you're always looking for more of both. There's a two fuels that you could never have enough to run the tank on. But
Exactly.
patience is such a beautiful lesson for us, because this work doesn't happen overnight, and nothing happens that's good overnight. Everything that is worth something takes time.
Yes.
It takes a lot of time and energy in, energy out. And we put in this energy year after year after year. But we look back and we see, I mean, you see hundreds of girls, women now, whose lives you and your organization have changed, for the better forever.
Mhm.
And that takes patience.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of patience. So tell us how we can support you, how we can donate, how we can get involved, what we can do. I mean, I'm already thinking, I have a girlfriend whose daughter plays college soccer for
Yeah.
University of Chicago. And I'm thinking, a second I'm off this, I'm literally sending her the link to your website and telling her daughter that she's got to get involved with you
Yes.
guys, because she would be fantastic. Anyway, so
Yeah.
tell us, Bre, how can we support you? Where can we find you? How, and all those young moms and soccer players and girls, tell us what we can do to be a part of this.
Sure. Yeah. You can go to our website, girlsleadinggirls.org. There you can donate or apply to be a coach. And our Instagram is at Girls Leading Girls. We are definitely branching out. So if you're not in San Francisco Bay Area, that doesn't matter. Chicago is one of the places we're going to expand to next, including
Oh,
Los Angeles. So we're definitely going
I've
to
got
be
some
expanding.
introductions for you, Bre.
Yeah, we're going to be expanding this year. So feel free to reach out. And then, yeah, to donate, we're doing a campaign, a 5K run where you could run in person or virtually. And this is for our free and scholarship players in our programs. And it's in cohesion with the Title IX 50th anniversary is this year. So
Oh,
we're doing the 5K run in June. And so everything will be on our website. So if you just go to girlsleadinggirls.org, you can either donate, sign up to run, sponsor, get involved. But yeah, it's going to be a big year for women's sports.
that is fantastic. Well, we are so excited to support you, so excited to learn more how we can get involved, to spread the word, and to get all of these girls out there playing, making friends, becoming confident, strong, amazing women who go out like you and change the world by paying it forward. So thank you, Bre, for all you're doing for those girls and making our world better. We're so grateful for you.
Thank you, Heidi. I appreciate this.
Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
All right. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Charity Matters podcast. I so enjoyed talking to our guest, Bre Russell, about what it takes to start a business that truly changes people's lives. I think Bre's comment about done is better than perfect was beyond inspiring and true. To learn more about modern day heroes like Bre, or if you'd like to reach out to us, visit us at charity-matters.com or connect with us on Instagram at Charity Matters. If you enjoyed our conversation, we would love it if you shared this with your family and your friends. And please don't forget to leave us a 5-star review. Remember, together we can make a difference, one small act of kindness at a time. Charity matters. See you next time.